Hello survivors, welcome to another video. In this video we're going to look at my war teams, which is the attack team, the defense team, which on both my regions I use my attack team and my defense team as the same team, and also my tower team on each region. So first up I'm going to show you my teams on Henry, and this is my defense and attack team. It's a mix of sustain and heavy damage, just basically trying to stay alive and trying to do a big one hits, basically relying on Dwight and Javier to do a lot of damage, and then Rick, it's kind of bonus damage. He could get a kill if Dwight's debuff doesn't kill somebody. He could get an AoE, and also Ezekiel's buff brings up Rick's AoE quite heavily. So we'll look at Ezekiel first. I'll check out his weapon. I have got a stun on attack weapon, which is very useful, especially on attack. If you stun a shield, whether they've got absolute defense or stun on defense, after you've stunned them, that doesn't count anymore. They do no longer stun you, they no longer absolute defense. So once they're stunned, you can just auto attack them, and that is really useful. Obviously his adrenaline rush is very good. So if you haven't got SR Zeke already, I'd say he was for a period easily one of the top 20 characters in the game in terms of just, you should have your hands on this guy. Obviously leader skill is huge bonus when attacking, and that's how I can utilize Rick on this defense team. Conrad as well is a very good shield. He's not the best. I'd say probably someone like Magna is better if you've got a stun weapon. Absolute defense is nice, but it's not the best defense weapon. It is obviously stun on defense is the best weapon. And then, as you said, the upgrades are not great. I haven't leveled up his rush, so it's just basically him being a brick wall for as long as possible. If Zeke's buffs go off, I would gather it'd be quite hard to kill Conrad when attacking my team. Dwight is just a heavy hitter in my team. I chose him on Pick Your Side just because he is very much a one-off character. There are not many characters like this. 600% damage, 80% defense reduction, and stun for one turn, which is just like massively powerful in my opinion, especially for 45 AR. He's going off every other turn, of course, with a very fast weapon. His weapon's not spectacular. It's just, I mean, you can't really get very good fast weapons on attack. Just stacked his HP and defense because they're pretty low. I just want him to be a bit I want him to survive a bit and just get that rush off as many times as possible. Because he can make the difference, especially coming up against shields, and especially coming up against, like, just basically big characters with a lot of armor, especially now that they've released 6 stars. Javier in combination with Conrad and Dwight is really useful. Obviously, in combination with Dwight's rush, Javier does insane amount of damage. He can hit like 5-6k no problem, so he takes out anyone. If I do a combo with those two guys, and then if Conrad gets the elusive buff, obviously people just don't get their rushes. Even if he does absolute defense, but even when people hit him, they don't get AR increase, which is really useful. Also a small heal, which is negligible, but it's a nice little bonus. And then we've got Rick, who is obviously AoE damage, not great, 275%. And then all teammates regain 30% HP and then 30% HP the next turn. That actually stacks with SR Zeke's, so I get 55% heal each turn, which is really nice. And because I've got a huge bonus on attack on the weapon, I also get that every other turn because I've got huge bonus leads. So I get 4 characters in this team will be rushing every other turn. So here's some examples of me just doing some fights in war. These aren't against great factions, I don't think. I can't remember what I recorded. But basically just the combination of Zeke's buffs with everybody just makes everyone stronger. Rick's AoE can one-shot like Andrea's with Zeke's buff, and also Dwight and Javier and Dwight and Rick in terms of Dwight's debuff. That combination can take down quite a lot of characters. Javier is really strong. If I need to take someone out, Javier will hit them hard. So that's my attack team and defense team. It's very good on defense as well. I do defend against some of the top factions in war. Not too easily because obviously they're very strong, but I have defended against some of the top guys, like top 50 guys, which is really nice for me. This is my tower team sort of like in the making. I kind of had a different tower team for a period where I think I had Kenny instead of Cal, but I recently got Cal, and I can't remember who I had as the last character. It might have been like Mirabelle, but I recently got Lee, so I'm just kind of switch up and just mess about a bit. I haven't upgraded Romanov's weapon because I don't really like his weapon because it's doesn't give you a head start. There's no like tier 3 on there already to work off of, so I'm probably just going to put very large or huge bonus on attack and then some HP on there and leave the attack percentage alone. Andrea's just going to have her rush every other turn, kind of like a normal Andrea, but she's stacked up on HP just so she survives a bit. Looking at Sandy, does a bit of a debuff, kind of like Dwight, that anyone who's debuffed who gets rushed by one of the other characters should die. And her weapon's pretty good. I didn't have a failure on that. Not that I needed huge, but it looks nice. And then we look at Cal. I haven't fully upgraded his weapon yet. I'm not really decided on what to do on his final upgrade, whether I do crit, because I have seen some people stack crit to take advantage of his Guardian buff, or to just go with HP, just so he survives a bit. He has got AP down on his weapon, but I've got a Lee, so that AP down is not going to be too useful. But however, I did actually get AP down on an ore. Haven't upgraded this either yet. So I've got reasonably decent backup weapons, nothing spectacular, but that's the tower team in the making at the moment. I mean, you're not really generally going to defend on tower teams. It's much harder unless you're coming up against a weaker faction, just because I think tower teams don't take advantage of buffs, but on attack you take advantage of the buffs. So like when you're attacking the towers, if you've got stronghold buffs, 20% extra damage and stuff like that, you will just annihilate tower teams. So that's my team on Henry. Now check out my team on Upson. So here's my team on Upson. It looks a little similar. Obviously, I have got SR Zeke as the lead. I do like. Obviously it's nowhere near as maxed out, just because I haven't been playing on this region as long. I only recently got Lee. I managed to level him up in the last level up tournament. But it works pretty well, and I'll just say how it works. Obviously, you already know how Zeke works, but I'll just check out his weapon for you guys. Exactly the same pretty much as the weapon I had on Javier in my other region, but instead of attack, it's got HP. The weapon on Lee, you know how Lee works. He's a shield. He's just there to stay alive and protect the rest of the team. I got pretty nice upgrades so far. I'm going to go for another 5% HP. He will survive for a little bit longer because of this. He has actually survived 2 rushes from Andrea with this buff, and obviously with SR Zeke's buff on top. Like that is pretty impressive. Obviously, he's not got the trait damage there, so it was only giving him 600 damage or something as the damage it was having to take, which was pretty nice. And then we look across the other 3 characters. I'll go with Ellen first, just because she's just the one that's slightly off in terms of why she's there. She's mainly there because I don't really have anyone else to put here. I can maybe put a Dwight here, but I kind of like the extra heals just for sustain. Her weapon is maxed out. Just keeps her alive as longer with higher damage. Not with higher damage, but with higher HP and death. I kind of ignore the damage, and she's got huge on attack. And now the next 2 characters are my main combo. I kind of got to get lucky on defense, I guess. But on attack, I can do this quite easily. On defense, I'll have to maybe switch up my team a little bit. But basically, I can rush with Eugene, debuffing 3 characters. I got another weapon that's nice and pristine. And I debuff 3. And then I obviously AoE of Jesus, and those 3 generally get taken down, especially if it's trait damage, especially if they're tough, because they've taken trait damage twice. Jesus, his AoE is really nice. His weapon nearly was perfect, but I really like his weapon, and I don't normally keep weapons with attack on it, and I'm not sure if I really noticed the difference. But it's nice to have like my biggest damage dealer to have a little bit more bonus attack. So that's my attack and defense team for war on this region. But I also have a secondary team, which is like a farm team. Okay, and now prepare yourselves, because I've been ultra lucky with some weapons. Okay, now this is to farm 5-star characters. As you can see, the Gatherer skill from Michonne. 5-star characters, 5-star tokens. Sorry, I imagine you can get 5-star character drops. That'd be pretty good. So yeah, all alert teammates get 30% attack, but you also get a medium chance of finding 5-star recruit token crates in war, and that isn't huge amounts. As you can see, it's 10, 50, 25, 75. But it happens enough, and then if it's a weekend war, I've got like nearly 1,000 tokens just from farming. I can only do this against certain teams, and generally it's against weaker factions or against teams with Carl 6-star lead, which sounds strange perhaps, but they're not going to get their rush very quickly, and I'm going to do a lot of trait damage because I've got 3 alert characters, and basically they're defensive teams. So I like to come up against those teams. Now, first up, the first weapon I've got, you might have got a sneak peek of all the weapons there, but first weapon I've got is a stun when being attacked. So I've got a stun gun on Michonne. And then next up we have Mirabelle. Everyone knows who Mirabelle is. And she's got a stun on defense weapon as well. So I've got 2 stun weapons, but that is not all. That is not all, because I have a governor who also has a stun when being attacked. I got so lucky, and this was in like the space of 10 upgrades. I tried for stun gun for so long, and then I got 3 just like that. That's how it goes. I remember my first ever upgrade, I got absolute defense, and I thought, oh well, yeah, I mean that's nice. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, pretty easy to get, and I didn't get another, like anything I tried for about another 20, 30 goes, and then I got a stun on attack strong weapon. So I've managed to get myself 3 stun guns, but unfortunately I don't really have that great alert characters. These are like the best alert characters I've got. So imagine if I actually had legitimate alert characters, you know, like Magna Shield. I would have a stun gun for Magna, and then I'd have like so many other characters that I could have. But anyway. And then I use Eugene on this team as well, just because the debuff really works well in combination with Michonne and the Governor's rushes. And I just use the defensive weapon that I use on Ellen on my main team, just so he stays alive. And then I have Ezekiel here just for a little bit of heals, and also that if he gets it off, the damage buff increase is really nice. And then I just use the stun weapon that he's got as well, so it's useful. So here's like a couple of examples of how they work together. And as I said, like Eugene getting his rush off boosts Mirabelle's rush if needed, if I've commanded, or you know, if anyone needs to go over the top with the AP, because he gives a 20% AP boost to one character. So that's pretty nice. And then the way I do it basically is I do Governor and Michonne's rush, Mirabelle stuns, and then I do Michonne like auto attack, and then Mirabelle commands, because she gets 45 AP back after doing her rush. So she does another rush. Generally, if I get to that stage, teams are dead. If I get that far, the only problem is sometimes I don't get that far. Sometimes I come up against teams who will just wreck me, and that's why I can't use it against every team. If I come up against teams that have got 2-turn rush teams, they'll annihilate me. Whereas if I come up against, basically it's all about the leader. That's why if Carl's the leader, I know that I can survive long enough to get all those rushes off, and I can generally kill at least 3, maybe 4 characters in that defense team in that time. And last up, we have my tower team for this region. I don't think it's that amazing. It's just a normal, sort of semi-normal Andrea team. My weapons are pretty bad. You know, they are really not even upgraded at all. I haven't really put too much effort into my tower team stuff here. But they're okay characters. They work well together. Obviously, I can use the stun gun on Mirabelle. But I'm fairly happy with that. It doesn't really do much. Like I said, tower teams do struggle. But that's it. That's all my teams for Upson and Henry. I hope this is a nice little bit of insight. You could see obviously one region's a bit stronger than the other just because I've been playing there for probably like twice as long. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep trying to work on my weapons, keep trying to upgrade my characters, think of different formulations for attack teams and defense teams. And anyone who has any requests for, you know, if they want to see anything, I will probably do a weapons update. I have every time I've opened my armory, I have recorded it just to show my weapons getting upgraded, the tier 3 ones, and I've got pretty lucky in recent months, so I've got quite a few that I could do a little video about. But that's it. for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.